At the end of the 2nd century AD, the two greatest civilizations on Earth, the Han Empire in the East and the Roman Empire in the West, seemed linked by a mysterious quantum entanglement, plunging into fatal convulsions simultaneously. In the West, the wise emperor Marcus Aurelius passed away, the tyrant Commodus seized the throne, and Rome's golden age drew to a close. In the East, a far more devastating, systemic collapse was unfolding. In 157 AD, the official registered population of the Han Dynasty stood at 56.4 million. A century later, that number plummeted to 7.6 million. 86% of the population vanished, equivalent to the entire population of modern-day Britain evaporating into the river of history. History textbooks often claim the empire fell to the warlord Dong Zhuo or the Yellow Turban Rebellion. But today, Civilization Unmasked will take you on a forensic dissection of this colossal empire's corpse. We will uncover a brutal truth. The Han Empire did not die by assassination. It perished from a long, reckless process of chronic suicide. The real killer was the empire's own system, one that had long since turned cancerous. Let's cut to the year 178 AD. This was the moment when both East and West witnessed the monetization of power in its most brazen form. In Rome, Commodus auctioned off imperial property. In Luoyang, Emperor Ling went a step further. He effectively launched an IPO for state power. In the Western Garden, price tags hung openly for all to see. A governorship cost 20 million coins, the Minister of War, 10 million. Ever the pragmatist, the emperor even rolled out installment plans for cash-strapped bidders. Beneath this absurd policy lay the empire's deepest malignancy, eunuch politics. Many dismissed this as a tale of an incompetent emperor and greedy sycophants. But a closer look at the mechanics of power reveals a cruel structural inevitability. In the late Eastern Han Dynasty, most emperors ascended the throne as children. Trapped in the imperial palace, these boy kings stood defenseless against the sprawling bureaucratic clique monopolized by aristocratic scholars. To reclaim control, the emperor had no choice but to turn to the only allies he could trust: his eunuchs. The eunuch clique was, in essence, an institutional prosthetic installed by imperial power to bypass the entrenched bureaucracy. Stripped of families and descendants, their authority derived solely from the emperor. This total dependency made them the sharpest blade in the imperial arsenal. Yet this design carried a fatal flaw. Their biological lack of heirs bred a political philosophy of absolute short-sightedness. With no descendants to safeguard, the eunuch's logic boiled down to one ruthless rule: plunder the empire dry before breathing their last breath. It was this apocalyptic greed that fueled the sale of official posts. The eunuchs egged the emperor on to monetize state power, siphoning off massive kickbacks for themselves in the process. This was no mere corruption. It was a fundamental metastasis of administrative logic. When official positions became commodities, an official's sole KPI shifted from governance to return on investment. The system sent a clear signal to the world. Plunder was not just permitted, it was encouraged. Overnight, the empire's entire administrative apparatus mutated, from an immune system protecting its people to a cancer devouring its host. When the empire's immune cells, the upright scholar officials, tried to excise this tumor, they suffered a catastrophic blow. In the two disasters of partisan prohibitions, the eunuchs manipulated imperial authority to purge nearly all intellectual elites. A fatal vacuum emerged. When the crisis finally erupted, the imperial court was left with nothing but money-grubbing eunuchs and obsequious yes-men. Just as the empire's political body rotted from within, nature delivered the final blow. At the end of the 2nd century AD, a global plague swept across Eurasia. The West called it the Antonine Plague. The East knew it as the typhoid epidemic. It was a shared global catastrophe. In both Rome and Han, the plague decimated the agricultural workforce, triggering the collapse of tax bases and the depletion of military recruitment pools. In 184 AD, a healer named Zhang Jiao harnessed this widespread despair to found the Way of Great Peace. He built a paramilitary network of 360,000 core followers, which exploded into rebellion across China's heartland overnight. His rallying cry, "The azure sky is dead," was no mere call to arms. It was a death warrant for the Han Dynasty's legitimacy. To put out the flames, the central government made a suicidal decision. A member of the imperial clan, Liu Yan, proposed a radical policy: abolish civilian inspectors and install military governors. To boost suppression efficiency, the central government bundled military, financial, and administrative powers into a single package and handed it over to local officials. This was akin to a federal government arming every state governor with a nuclear button and a money-printing press to fight terrorism. Such is the paradox of history. To prolong the empire's life, it had to swallow the poison of fragmentation. The Yellow Turban Rebellion was crushed, but the side effects were fatal. Yuan Shao, Cao Cao, Liu Biao, these local officials were no longer bureaucrats. They had become warlords. By 188 AD, the Han Empire was already brain-dead. In 189 AD, Emperor Ling died. The long-simmering conflict between the palace eunuchs and the aristocratic bureaucracy finally detonated like a nuclear bomb. General He Jin perished from his own class anxiety. A butcher-turned-warlord, he distrusted both the scholar officials and the eunuchs. Desperate for security, he made the most catastrophic blunder of his life. He invited a warlord's army into the capital. He thought he was summoning bodyguards. Instead, he called forth Dong Zhuo. Yuan Shao then stormed the imperial palace, slaughtering over 2,000 eunuchs. The eunuch clique, the so-called tumor, was finally eradicated, but the surgery was so crude it severed the patient's aorta. Central authority died alongside the eunuchs' corpses. Dong Zhuo's arrival marked the dawn of a brief Roman-style military junta in Chinese history, a striking parallel to Rome's Severan dynasty. Border warlords capitalized on the chaos in the capital, deploying battle-hardened field armies to dismantle the empire's age-old civil service and Confucian ritual system. Dong Zhuo deposed the reigning emperor, installed a puppet ruler, and ruled through terror. Many see only cruelty in his actions, but we witness the shattering of a social contract. Dong Zhuo showed the world that Confucian rituals and noble bloodlines were worthless in the face of raw, unbridled violence. From that moment on, the law of the jungle, he who commands the strongest army shall be emperor, officially replaced Han law. In 190 AD, warlords across eastern China formed a coalition against Dong Zhuo. Yet this seemingly righteous alliance was nothing more than an ugly political farce. The coalition leader, Yuan Shao, hoarded his strength. The others scrambled to seize territory. They feasted and drank while the capital burned, not one daring to march forward. All except one man, Sun Jian. Here, we must correct a millennium-old misconception perpetuated by historical dramas. It was not the god of war Guan Yu who slew the enemy General Hua Xiong while his wine was still warm. It was Sun Jian. While others hesitated, the Tiger of Jiangdong fought his way through enemy lines, becoming the first to breach the gates of Luoyang. But what awaited the hero was not flowers and cheers. It was a landscape of ash and ruin. Before his retreat, Dongguo made one of the most devastating decisions in human civilization. He burned Luoyang to the ground. 2 centuries of accumulated knowledge, countless astronomical records, irreplaceable technological treatises, and profound philosophical texts went up in flames. This was a catastrophic rupture in the fabric of Chinese civilization. After retreating to Chang'an, Dongzhuo launched his final economic nuclear strike. He melted down the 12 metal colossi of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, to mint shoddy lightweight coins. Prices skyrocketed 10,000-fold. In the Guangzhong region, cannibalism became rampant. Dongzhuo proved a chilling truth. To destroy a nation, debasing its currency is far more efficient than waging war. In 192 AD, the end finally came. This was no romantic beauty trap from folklore. It was a pragmatic alliance between the scholar-aristocrat Wang Yun and the warrior Lu Bu. Historical records tell us Dongzhuo once threw a battle axe at Lu Bu over a trivial dispute. That incident planted a seed of paranoia in Lu Bu's mind. He realized he was a dead man, walking in his adoptive father's eyes. Wang Yun exploited this insecurity to turn Lu Bu against Dongzhuo. The warlord was assassinated, his corpse dragged through the streets and burned as a human torch for 3 full days. In that moment, many naively believed that with the demon dead, order would be restored. But tragedy struck. Wang Yun, now in power, arrogantly refused to grant amnesty to Dongzhuo's former subordinates. In retaliation, the Western warlords launched a counterattack. Wang Yun was killed, and Lu Bu was forced to flee. This proved a desperate, irreversible truth. The Han Dynasty's immune system was completely necrotic. Dongzhuo was dead, but the Pandora's box he opened, warlordism, could never be closed again. He taught a new generation of ambitious men, Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Sun Quan, a brutal lesson. In this chaotic world, justice has no teeth. He who commands the strongest army holds the ultimate truth. The old empire had completed its suicide. Central government credibility was shattered, the monetary system collapsed, and the population was decimated. Yet it was upon this colossal corpse that a new generation of heroes and villains would rise. A new era, one of betrayal, intrigue, and bloodshed, had only just begun. This is Civilization Unmasked. In our next episode, we will step into that star-studded age, the main saga of the 3 kingdoms, the chess game between Cao Cao and Liu Bei.